Female CEO's heartwarming request for a fake boyfriend at ex's wedding. What the single dad really did. Emma stared at the wedding invitation, her breath hitching in her throat. Congratulations, Jeffrey, it read in elegant script. Her ex-husband was getting married again. A wave of emotions crashed over her, pride for him, but also a familiar heartache. As CEO of a thriving tech company in suburban Chicago, she was used to battling stereotypes. Yet, this felt like a punch to the gut. The thought of entering that celebration solo, facing the barrage of questions and pitying glances, sent chills down her spine. She needed a plan. Fast. As she paced her sleek office, heart pounding, a light bulb flicked on. "I need a fake boyfriend," she blurted out, shocking her assistant. The thought was radical, maybe even ridiculous, but with each idea, her confidence grew. She called up a dating agency, explaining her unconventional request. Thrumming with nerves, she wondered who would fit into this strange charade. Cue Jake, a charming single dad full of laughter and kindness, with deep-set eyes that revealed layers of stories untold. Their initial conversations felt electric, a connection kindling over shared tales of love and loss. Both had been shaped by sacrifices. He, a devoted father losing his wife, she a fiercely independent woman in a world that often didn't see her. "It's not fair," Jake had said matter-of-factly. "People want to box us in based on what they see." Emma nodded, understanding all too well. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." The day of the wedding arrived, and the atmosphere buzzed with laughter, music, and an undercurrent of tension only she could feel. Dressed in a stunning navy blue cocktail dress, Emma felt Jake's reassuring presence beside her. Their flirtation, initially intended as a cover, warmed into an alliance woven from sincerity. They exchanged supportive glances, a silent confirmation that they were in this together. But just as the celebration reached its peak, Emma's ex launched a careless jab about settling for less, a direct insult aimed at Jake. An electric silence fell over the room. Emma's heart raced. Protectiveness surged inside her, igniting a fire she didn't know she had. "You don't know anything about him," she shot back, shaking. The crowd gasped, some exchanging shocked glances as Emma fought through the weight of judgment. In that moment, the fake relationship morphed into something deeper, a confrontation not just against defensiveness, but against societal expectations and prejudices. Both Emma and Jake felt their lives converging, their truths mingling in a dance of power and vulnerability. But as Emma's heart began to open, doubt started to creep back in. Would this newfound bond withstand the scrutiny of the outside world? With the celebration fading into a whirlwind of emotions, both Emma and Jake found themselves on the brink of a new journey, one filled with the promise of love, healing, and the possibility of redefining their futures, but still marred by the flickering shadows of past pains. Would they conquer the societal black box, or would it push them apart just as they were discovering something real? The unknown hung in the air, electric and charged, leaving readers yearning for more. Emma felt the suffocating silence wrap around her like a heavy blanket. She could see the surprise on the faces of their friends, shifting uncomfortably, unsure if they should applaud her defense or recoil. But the fire inside her blazed stronger. She wasn't about to let Jeffrey's words, which dripped with condescension, create a fracture in what she and Jake were building. "Let's go outside," Jake suggested softly, his voice cutting through the tension. He gently took her elbow, and together they stepped onto the patio, away from the whispers and the prying eyes. Breathless, Emma pressed her forehead against the cool railing. "I'm so sorry you had to hear that. He doesn't know you." "Hey, it's all right, really." Jake leaned against the railing beside her, his presence just enough to calm her racing heart. "I've had my fair share of those jabs too. It's just part of the baggage, I guess." The way he said part of the baggage struck a chord within her. It was as if he understood the weight of her past, the choices she had made, mistakes she had lived with. She looked over at him, his eyes reflecting the flickering lights of the wedding, and felt stronger somehow, imbued with a sense of shared struggle. "What if we let them think whatever they want?" he proposed tentatively. "We could just focus on what's here between us." The sincerity in his gaze was a lifeline that made her feel seen, understood in ways she hadn't expected. Emma's heart fluttered, uncertainty mingling with a spark of hope. Was it possible for them to redefine their situation, to build something real from the ashes of this charade? She could see a future where the two of them faced the world together, not as a fake couple but as partners in a new journey. "Yeah, I like that idea," she smiled, feeling a shift in the air. Jake mirrored her enthusiasm, his smile lighting up the dim patio. But just as she started to feel invincible, reality crashed down. What if this is just a phase, a fleeting moment before we go back to our separate lives? Her voice faltered at the end, vulnerability creeping in. Jake crossed his arms, contemplative. "If it is, then let's make the most of it. We both deserve to feel something genuine. Besides, even if there is an end, it doesn't negate the connection we have, the realness we've found." Emma nodded slowly, realizing that he was right. There was something authentic blooming between them, amidst the laughter and the tradition of the wedding chaos. But with her history and his overshadowing past, could they truly give love another shot? As they stood together, gazing out at the star-filled sky, a wave of determination surged through Emma. She decided then and there to stop second-guessing. "Let's be us tonight. No masks, no charades," she said, her voice brimming with a newfound resolve. An enthusiastic nod from Jake sealed the deal, but there was still an edge of apprehension. This could lead somewhere uncharted, and as exhilarating as that felt, it also reignited the sparks of fear she had once tried to extinguish. With a long, steady inhale, Emma knew she couldn't turn back. But the lingering questions surfaced once more. What would happen when they had to confront their pasts again? Just then, Jake turned, his expression shifting to something more serious. "Emma, there's something I need to tell you. Something about my past that might change everything." The air between them thickened with anticipation. As the night stretched on, Emma's heart raced. What could he possibly reveal? Would this truly become the catalyst for their relationship, or would it expose cracks she hadn't seen before? The shadows of doubt flickered, threatening to pull her away from the light they'd ignited, but she knew she had to hear it, for both their sakes. The weight of Jake's words hung in the air, stretching seconds into eternity. Emma could feel her heart pounding as she searched his face, looking for signs of what would come next. "Honestly, it's not easy for me to talk about, but I think it's important," he continued, his voice steady but laced with a hint of hesitation. "You need to know who I really am." She held her breath, fighting the urge to pull away. The stars sparkled above them, but all she could focus on was Jake's unfolding story. Would this revelation change everything? "I don't want to scare you," he started, glancing down at his feet. "But I've made some mistakes, and big ones. My marriage ended because I didn't handle things right. We had a son, and I let my past ruin that." Shock coursed through Emma. A son? The weight of his confession hit her like a wave, dark and daunting. Was this the baggage he was referring to? "His name is Noah," Jake said, his voice barely above a whisper. "When the divorce happened, I lost so much. He stayed with his mom and I hardly get to see him. I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes, and that's what scares me with us." The raw honesty in his words sank deep into her heart. She reached for his hand instinctively, entwining her fingers with his, feeling the warmth emanate from him. "Jake, I can't pretend to know what that's like, but—" She hesitated, not wanting to trigger any deeper pain. "But you're here now, you're trying, right?" He nodded, a flicker of hope glimmering in his eyes. "I try every day, and that's the thing. I'm scared of meeting someone new. I don't want to carry that fear into something real, into something that could hurt you or Noah." Their fingers remained interlocked as silence enveloped them, but it felt less suffocating this time. Emma thought of her own past, the chaos she had navigated through, and how she had vowed to never let anyone in again. But here she was, wanting to lean into his honesty, wanting to explore whatever this new connection might be. "Maybe we could be each other's support," she suggested, the idea blooming bravely in her mind. "Support," Jake echoed, raising an eyebrow. "Yeah, I mean, if you feel vulnerable, maybe I can help balance that out. I could be your friend, no pressure, no expectations." A smile broke through his serious demeanor, even if it was faint. "You're really something, Emma." She couldn't help but laugh lightly, each chuckle filling the growing tension with relief. "That's what I've been told, just not in a while." They shared a moment of silence, each drawing strength from the other. And in that space it became clearer to Emma that neither of them had to walk their paths alone. She had her struggles, and he had his son to consider. Two broken narratives in desperate need of reconstruction. Perhaps they were just the glue the other needed. But as she looked into his warm, open eyes, a deeper concern prickled at her heart. What if it doesn't go as planned? Are we ready for this? Jake squeezed her hand, grounding her focus. "That's part of the risk, right? We could both walk away, or we could find something meaningful. Either way, I think we should be honest. With ourselves and with each other." Hope flickered like the stars above them. Emma took a deep breath, feeling a thrill of possibility. But just then, she heard a voice calling out from the darkness of the patio behind them. A familiar voice, one that gripped her with sudden trepidation. "Emma! There you are!" Fear surged back as she let go of Jake's hand. It wasn't just the sound of her name. It was the tone that sent a chill down her spine. Would this reunion break the trust she had just begun to build? As she turned around, unease tangled with curiosity. Who was behind that voice? And would it shatter everything she was beginning to hope for with Jake? Emma felt a rush of dread wash over her as she spun to face the source of the voice. There, framed in the dim light of the patio, stood Sarah, her college roommate and longtime friend. But more importantly, the person who had been a sounding board for every relationship misstep Emma had made. "Emma, I was looking everywhere for you," Sarah said, panting slightly as she approached. There was an air of urgency about her that made Emma's stomach twist. "Hey, see, what's up?" Emma managed to say, trying to disguise the tension in her own voice. She dared a glance back at Jake, who remained seated, looking unsure. "Can we talk?" "It's kind of important," Sarah insisted, her brow furrowed with concern. Emma's heart sank. She felt a strange pull to Jake, the connection they had just begun to explore fading away as the moment shifted. "Sure," Emma replied, forcing a smile as she stepped away from Jake, though her heart seemed to lag behind. "What's going on?" As Sarah led her a few paces away, Emma could feel Jake's eyes on her, a mixture of confusion and concern etched on his face. She wanted to reassure him, to say everything was fine, but her friend's intense expression made her uneasy. "It's about the wedding next week. You know Jake's brother, your ex, right?" Sarah said, her voice low. Emma nodded, anxiety knotting in her stomach. "Yes, I know," she mumbled, trying to keep her tone light. "Well, he just sent out the final invites, and I thought—" Sarah paused, biting her lip. "Would you consider a fake boyfriend for the wedding? Just for show, you know? It could really help with how they look at you. Plus, we could have some fun." The absurdity of the idea struck Emma first. A fake boyfriend, seriously? "Listen, I know it's a lot to ask, but this is a great opportunity for you. Show everyone you're thriving, and trust me, you'll have more fun with a date," Sarah pressed, her enthusiasm unbridled. Before Emma could respond, her mind started swirling. What would Jake think? The thought of bringing someone into this fragile new space, of making it somehow less real, was disheartening. But the wedding would be full of awkward encounters with people from her past, people who knew all her mistakes, and she did want to show she was doing okay. "Who's the boyfriend?" Emma asked tentatively. "I was thinking maybe Jake could help us out," Sarah suggested casually, oblivious to Emma's racing heart. Emma's stomach dropped again. "You want me to ask him? After everything we just talked about?" It felt too soon, too precarious. "Why not? He's a nice guy, I know he'd do it. Plus, if you guys were together, it might ease him into his own fears, right?" Emma stared back toward Jake, who was still watching them, uncertainty etched across his features. Could she really go back to that space? Could she forge a path that felt real, with him, while asking him to pretend for her. A nervous laugh escaped Emma. "It's not exactly what I had planned for my first date after everything. Just think about it, all right? You don't have to commit right now." Sarah's eyes sparkled with excitement, and Emma couldn't help but feel a spark of hope within her. Could this be a way to blend her past and her present into something new? Still hesitating, Emma took a deep breath, torn between the thrill of possibility and the fear of ruining what was beginning with Jake. What if he says no? Or what if it complicates everything? Then we explore something else. But know this, Emma. You deserve some comfort, some happiness. Don't let an old chapter stop you from writing a new one. With her heart racing, Emma found herself turning back toward Jake. The two of them had been standing on the brink of something significant, but now she had a choice to make. Would she take this chance? As she met Jake's gaze, an idea flickered in her mind, both daring and frightening. Maybe we could figure this out together. But just as she opened her mouth to speak, another unexpected voice broke through the moment. "Emma, there you are, we need you inside." It was her boss calling, and she felt the pressure rise once more. Emma's heart raced. Would she betray the tender trust building with Jake for the sake of old connections? Or embrace something uncertain that could reweave her life into something remarkable? Everything felt suspended as she took a step forward, unsure of where to go next. Would she grasp what was being offered, or retreat into the comfort of her past? Emma's heart was pounding in her chest as she glanced between Sarah and Jake. The moment felt electrifying, but it was also overwhelming. She could hear her boss's voice fading into the distance, but all she could focus on was the flicker of hesitation in Jake's eyes. It was as if he felt her internal struggle. "Emma," Sarah whispered, nudging her gently. "This could be fun. Picture it, you, Jake, that wedding. You'd show everyone you're living your best life." Emma wanted to laugh at the sheer absurdity of it all. A fake relationship with Jake felt too tangled and risky, like trying to unwind a ball of yarn that just kept knotting tighter. And yet part of her was intrigued. Maybe this charade could be just what she needed to break free from the ghosts of her past. But as she looked at Jake, who still sat on the patio's edge waiting for clarity, she wrestled with the question, clawing at her heart. Was this too much? Could she lean into something real when everything felt so fragile? "Sarah, can you give us a minute?" Emma finally blurted out, her voice softer now. "Sure, I'll—" Sarah gave her a knowing smile. "I'll be inside." As Emma watched Sarah walk away, a nervous tension hung in the air. She turned back toward Jake, who stood up, hands shoved in his pockets. The look in his eyes was a mix of curiosity and concern. "Everything okay?" he asked, his voice steady. "Not really," Emma admitted, feeling exposed. "It's just, Sarah has this idea, and I'm not sure how to feel about it." "I heard bits and pieces," Jake admitted, concern crinkling his brow. "Is it about the wedding?" "Yeah, kind of," she said, hesitating. "It sounds silly, but she suggested that She paused, the words refusing to come out. "That I could use a fake boyfriend for the wedding, to make it look like I'm okay, thriving." Jake raised an eyebrow. "A fake boyfriend? Right? It sounds wild, I know, but I also get why she'd suggest it. The wedding will be full of people who only know my past. I just thought maybe it could help me face them if they think I'm, well, moving forward." Jake took a breath, considering her words. "That makes sense. The past can be heavy, especially where relationships are concerned." "I didn't want to complicate things between us, though," Emma rushed out, her words tumbling. "You and we just started figuring things out. I don't want to ruin that." "No pressure," Jake said lightly, yet his gaze was serious. "But would it be so terrible? If all this is for show, then maybe it doesn't have to be complicated. We could just have fun, play the part for a night." "I don't know." "Emma, this is your choice." He stepped closer, their eyes locking in an unspoken understanding. "You don't have to do it for anyone else but yourself. Just think about what you want." His words wrapped around her, providing warmth amid the chaos of thoughts. She needed time. "What if I said yes? And then everything changes?" "Change can be good," he replied quietly. "Sometimes we need to shake things up." A gust of wind blew through the trees, whipping around them, but it felt refreshing. Emma's heart danced with confusion, excitement, and a sliver of hope. Just then, her boss's voice drifted farther inside the house, calling for her again. "Emma! Seriously, we need you!" She turned back briefly, feeling her heartache flare for a split second. But as she looked at Jake again, questions bubbled in her throat. Could they really take this leap? And if they did, what would it mean for them? "Hold on, I'll be back. Just think about what you said," Emma told Jake, making a half-hearted attempt to step away. But as she did, a small part of her wished he'd follow. "Just remember," Jake called after her, his voice low and compelling. "Whatever you choose, I'm here." Emma paused. Did that mean he was interested in her beyond the wedding? As she walked back toward the house, confusion knotted within her while a warmth simmered at the edges. Which path would she take, and what would be waiting at the end? Her thoughts raced as she pushed her way inside, uncertainty gripping her once more. But one thing felt clear. She couldn't run from this, whatever this was about to become. Maybe, just maybe, she was ready to dive deeper. Or would she choose the safer route instead? Emma stepped inside, the din of laughter and chatter enveloping her like a warm blanket, but her heart felt anything but cozy. Each step echoed with the weight of her decision hanging in the air. What was supposed to be a simple family gathering had morphed into a tangled web, with Jake in the center, teasing her with possibility. She forced a bright smile as she approached her boss, who was discussing seating arrangements at the kitchen island. "Emma, thank goodness," she exclaimed. "I need your input on the floral arrangements. We want everything to be perfect." "Of course," Emma replied, trying to focus on what her boss was saying, but the image of Jake standing there so thoughtfully wouldn't leave her mind. "Perfect, just like your date for the wedding," her boss chirped, not missing a beat. Emma's stomach tightened at the mention of a date. She wanted to spill her secret right there, to give voice to her crazy idea, but instead she nodded, plastering a smile on her face. Sarah appeared beside her, whispering conspiratorially, "So, any decisions made?" Emma hesitated, glancing past her friend toward the patio where Jake stood, leaning casually against the railing. He seemed lost in thought, but turned his gaze briefly toward her, a small smile playing on his lips. "Not yet," Emma managed, her voice catching slightly. "Come on, this could be your moment," Sarah urged, eyes shining with enthusiasm. "Everyone will see how well you're doing, and it might even work as a stepping stone for you to move on. Plus," she added with a smirk, "who wouldn't want an adorable guy like Jake on their arm?" As Sarah's words settled into her mind, they felt like a colorful paint splatter against a blank canvas. It was outrageous, daft, all-consuming, and yet thrilling. A flutter of hope tickled her heart. "Maybe it wouldn't hurt to ask him," Emma murmured, half to herself. "Ask him? Emma?" Sarah's eyes widened. "You can't be serious." "About what?" Another colleague chimed in, catching their exchange. "Nothing," Emma said quickly, waving her hand dismissively, but now her pulse raced. They chatted about work details, yet a warmth bloomed inside her. It was the kind of warmth that dared her to take a risk, to step outside her usual boundaries. Later that night, as the laughter from the gathering echoed in the background, Emma stood at the kitchen sink, running the cool water over her hands. Deep down she knew she needed to make a move, but her heart sat in the back seat, filled with fear. Suddenly the main door creaked open. Jake entered, looking around with the kind of openness that drew people in. He spotted her and walked over, an easy smile lighting his face. "Hey, I was just about to ask where you disappeared to." "I was, lost in thought," Emma replied, unable to maintain the facade of casualness. "About things." He studied her, the hint of concern returning. "Things? Like?" Taking a deep breath, she decided to plunge ahead. "Like whether or not I should ask someone to be my date for the wedding." Jake's demeanor shifted, his brows furrowing slightly. "Oh. Not, like I said, nothing serious, just a plan to face the past." She looked him right in the eye. "Well, he started, the lingering silence hanging between them filled with unspoken possibilities. If you're going to do it, it sounds to me like I might know someone who'd be right for the job. Emma felt her breath quicken. She had to know where this was going. Someone? A smirk danced on Jake's lips, defying the tension that hung thick in the air. Could be, if you're looking for a fake boyfriend. Her heart raced again, but this time it was with excitement. Jake, you'd... Absolutely, let's see where this leads together, he said, his voice low and full of something she couldn't quite identify. Suddenly, laughter erupted from the main room, echoing off the walls. But Emma only had eyes for Jake, feeling herself on the edge of something profound. I guess I'm in, she replied, her own tone tinged with disbelief and exhilaration. A soft laugh escaped Jake as he took a step closer, a warmth radiating between them. Then it settled. What's the worst that could happen? Emma tried to suppress her fluttering heart, but inside she knew something had shifted. She was ready to dive in, but would they both be able to handle the currents of what lay ahead? Just as she began to feel secure in her decision, her phone buzzed insistently in her pocket. She fished it out and stared at the message on the screen, her heart dropping into her stomach. Your ex is here. The ground beneath her shifted, and suddenly grounding herself felt like standing on quicksand. What were the consequences of her choice now? Fear surged through her, but also fire. As she looked back at Jake, all they had built stood on the cusp of transformation. Could they navigate this together, or would it spiral beyond their control? Emma's heart raced as she locked eyes with Jake, the world around them fading into the background. The flurry of laughter and chatter, once comforting, now felt overwhelming. She was suddenly thrust into the spotlight, tangled in the threads of her chaotic emotions. The message on her phone throbbed in her mind. Her ex was here. What should I do? She whispered, her voice barely piercing the commotion. Jake's gaze remained steady. You breathe, he said, his calmness providing a momentary anchor. And remember, you have me. We stick to the plan. His words wrapped around her like a lifeline, and she took a shuddering breath. Right. The plan. Just act normal, right? Normal is overrated, he replied with a hint of mischief in his eyes. Let's make this entertaining. With that, the two of them stepped out onto the patio, leaving the warmth of the gathering behind. The cool night air whipped around them, revitalizing Emma's senses. She focused on the flickering lights strung above, trying to silence the internal storm brewing within her. Just to be clear, when we say fake boyfriend, are we talking hand-holding and everything? Emma teased, trying to shake off the chill of her ex directly behind her. Depends, Jake grinned. How convincing do you want to be? Very convincing, she replied, her voice shaky yet emboldened. I want him to think I've moved on, that I'm happy, perfectly happy. Then we will be the happiest couple this wedding has ever seen, Jake declared, puffing out his chest in mock pride. I can work with that. Just promise me one thing. What's that? No awkward silences. We talk, we laugh, we have fun. Deal. Deal. Emma smiled, feeling her stomach flutter again. This felt surprisingly freeing. As they moved toward the gathering, Jake slipped his hand into hers, a gesture that sent electric shocks up her arm. The warmth of his grip held a reassuring weight, grounding her as they re-entered the chaos. It was as if the atmosphere had shifted. Conversations paused, eyes darted toward them. Emma's cheeks flushed with a mix of embarrassment and exhilaration. This is definitely going to raise eyebrows, she whispered to Jake. Good, he grinned. That's exactly the goal. They made their way to the bar, and Emma couldn't help but admire the way Jake carried himself, confident, relaxed, and most importantly, completely at ease. So, Mr. Fake Boyfriend, she teased, do you have any strategies in mind for dealing with my ex? He chuckled, leaning against the bar as he scanned the crowd. Just keep your chin up, make sure to laugh at my jokes, and if all else fails, we can always do the classic, "This is my boyfriend, isn't he amazing?" line. Impressive, Emma said, her heart thrumming with excitement. When did you decide you were so good at this? It's a talent, he winked, but suddenly his smile faltered as he spotted someone across the room. Emma followed his gaze and felt a lump rise in her throat. There stood her ex, looking dapper and perfectly composed, just as she remembered him. Her pulse quickened again, not from the thrill this time, but from an anxiety swarming her mind. She drew in a tight breath. "There he is. Stay close to me," Jake instructed, his voice steady. He reached for her hand, interlinking their fingers. The warm connection reminded her that she wasn't alone in this. "Just treat it like any other person. You and I are in this together." Together. The word lingered in the air. Emma nodded, feeling the resolve deepen within her. "You're right. I can do this." As she prepared to confront the past, her ex approached, a grin splitting his face. "Well, well, Emma, who's this?" And with that beckoning, the moment of truth loomed, threatening to unravel everything. Emma squeezed Jake's hand, feeling the tension thrumming through her. Could they both play their parts perfectly? She was ready to step into the light, but would that light reveal her true intentions? Or would it expose a tangled mess of feelings that wanted to break free? As the crowd swirled around them, the thrill of the unknown hung like a whisper in the air. What happens next could change everything. Emma felt her pulse quicken as her ex, Tyler, approached. Memories flooded her mind. Moments of laughter that once felt so vibrant now morphed into echoes of heartache. Jake's grip tightened just slightly, as if he could sense her spiraling thoughts. "Nice to see you, Emma," Tyler said, his voice smooth as silk. He turned to Jake, his brow raised in a mixture of curiosity and surprise. "And you are?" "This is Jake," Emma said, her voice firm despite the fluttering anxiety in her stomach. "My boyfriend." The word hung in the air, heavy yet liberating. She felt Jake's presence solidify next to her, a collective shield against the scrutiny. He stepped forward, flashing a confident smile that momentarily softened the tension between them all. "Pleasure to meet you," Jake said, extending his hand. "So how do you know Emma?" Tyler cocked his head slightly, intrigue dancing in his eyes. "High school, just catching up, you know." He then glanced at Emma, a flicker of something in his expression that sent a shiver down her spine. "I didn't realize you'd moved on." "People change," Emma replied, her heart hammering. She glanced at Jake, who met her gaze with a slight nod, a silent encouragement to hold her ground. "Looks like you've got a great catch, Emma. You're lucky," Tyler said, the compliment laced with a tinge of sarcasm. The room seemed to hush for a moment, the crowd waiting to see how she would respond. Emma could feel the weight of expectation, not just from Tyler, but the curious eyes lingering on them. "I am lucky, actually," she said, lifting her chin a fraction. "Jake has been really great." "Yeah, I've heard about him," Tyler replied dismissively. "That you're doing well with your careers and everything. Guess you're busy climbing the corporate ladder." "Busy doing what I love," Emma said, a new fire igniting in her chest. "And I enjoy the company I keep." Jake squeezed her hand, a quiet reassurance that steadied her resolve. Tyler raised an eyebrow, clearly taken aback by her unexpected conviction. "Well, good for you. Most people can handle the past better than this." Emma held his gaze, the anger simmering just below the surface. "Maybe it's about learning from the past instead of letting it define you," she challenged, "but that's a lesson you might not have learned." The words latched onto the air between them, and for a brief moment it felt like a spark had ignited something bigger. The reactions from the crowd shifted between surprise and admiration as whispers flitted through the gathering. "Well, I guess I'll let you two get back to it," Tyler said, his smile faltering, replaced by a hasty mask of indifference. "See you around, Emma." As he stepped away, Emma felt lighter, as if a weight had lifted off her shoulders. The tension dissipated momentarily and she turned to face Jake, her heart still racing, but now fueled by adrenaline and triumph. "Wow, that was—" she began, but Jake cut her off. "Let's get a drink. You deserve a reward for that," he said, grinning ear to ear. He pulled her towards the bar, laughter bubbling between them as they escaped the lingering stares. Once at the bar, Emma felt exhilaration wash over her. "I can't believe I did that. I didn't even think about it. I just reacted." Jake leaned closer, his voice low. "That's what happens when you're not pretending anymore. You just be yourself." With the weight of the confrontation behind her, Emma could feel the atmosphere shift again, lighter this time. They laughed and joked, their connection layered deeper with every passing moment. Yet, something within Emma tugged at her, a gnawing question. Could this act of bravado mark not just the reclaiming of her past, but a step forward into something real with Jake? As they finished their drinks, ready to face whatever may come next, she noticed Tyler's figure lingering at the edge of the crowd, a thoughtful expression etched across his face. The question weighed heavily on her mind. What did he think? And more importantly, how would this chaos affect her future with Jake? The night was still unfurling, and Emma knew it held more secrets she hadn't yet uncovered. The path ahead shimmered with possibilities, but what truths might reveal themselves in the light of day? The bar was a whirlwind of laughter and clinking glasses, as Emma and Jake settled into their new groove. But even amidst the vibrant energy, a shadow lingered in the back of her mind. Tyler's face, the brief moment they shared. She shook her head, attempting to push the thought away, choosing instead to focus on the warmth radiating between her and Jake. "Do you want another drink?" Jake asked, his voice breaking through her reverie. "You seem a little lost in thought." "Yeah, just processing everything, I guess. It feels weird." Emma ran a hand through her hair, trying to weave the pieces together. "How did I just confront my past like that?" Jake smiled, a gentle crease forming at the corners of his eyes. "That's strength, Emma. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for." She wrapped her fingers around her glass, feeling the coolness against her skin. "I just want to keep moving forward. I don't want the past to trip me up again, you know?" "Totally get that, but you don't have to carry it alone." His words hung in the air like a promise, grounding her. She felt her anxiety ebbing, replaced by a blossoming hope. Being with Jake felt right, natural, and more encouraging than she had anticipated. "Let's talk about something else," she suggested, eager for a distraction. "What's your favorite movie?" "Definitely anything with dinosaurs," he laughed, his boyish charm lighting up his face. "I mean, how can you not love dinosaurs?" Emma snorted, leaning against the bar. "Really? There's no hidden gem you love?" "Okay, fair point. I'm also a sucker for those cheesy rom-coms. You know, the ones where opposites attract against all odds? Oh, I love those. Total guilty pleasure." Lost in conversation, they wove through stories of childhood memories, shared ambitions and dreams. Laughter bubbled forth with ease, drawing them closer. For a moment, the world outside faded, and it was just the two of them. As the night wound on, the vibe shifted. Emma noticed people drifting toward the dance floor, couples swaying to the gentle rhythm of the music. She turned to Jake, her heart quickening again. "Want to dance?" "I thought you'd never ask," he grinned, extending his hand toward her. The moment she took it, an electric rush surged between them. He led her through the milling crowd, placing his hands firmly at her waist. The music blended softly with the laughter around them, creating an atmosphere that felt safe yet exhilarating. Sheltered in the warmth of his touch, anxiety tugged at the corners of Emma's heart, mingling with something more powerful, longing. A part of her feared losing this connection amidst the looming shadows of her past. "Just focus on now," Jake whispered, his breath warm against her ear. As they swayed, her mind flashed back to Tyler, the echo of their past, contentious yet vibrant. She wanted to embrace the fullness of the moment with Jake, but couldn't shake the lingering doubt. Would she always be tied to that part of her life? The intimacy of the dance heightened everything. The rhythm, the warmth of his body against hers, the way his gaze locked onto hers, unyielding and inviting. It was exhilarating, yet terrifying to realize how deeply she craved this. "Are you okay?" Jake asked, pulling her from her spiraling thoughts. "Yeah, I am," Emma said, mustering a smile. "This feels good, really good." But as his hands tightened around her, a sinking realization hit. What if all the confidence she'd gained slipped through her fingers like sand? Her heartbeat raced again, tugging at her as Tyler's figure resurfaced in her mind, standing at the fringes. She glanced across the room only to find him again, watching. "More than okay?" Jake teased, tightening his grip. Yeah." But before she could fully bask in the moment, the question gnawed at her again. The night still had many secrets hidden beneath its surface, and she wanted to know, could the steps she was taking truly lead her away from her past, Or was she destined to confront it all over again? The music shifted, a familiar tune enveloping them, and suddenly, Emma was battling more than just her feelings. What if this night, this connection, was just the calm before another storm? Emma swayed in Jake's embrace, the music wrapping around them like a soft cocoon. She took a deep breath, searching for peace in the midst of the chaos swirling in her mind. Jake leaned closer, his eyes sparkling with mischief and warmth, grounding her in the present. "Let's just enjoy this moment," he whispered, a gentle smile on his face. Somehow that simple statement calmed her jumping heart. She could feel his heart beating in rhythm with the music, and for the first time that night, the anxiety inside her started to dissolve. They moved together, their bodies fitting as if they had danced 1,000 times before. As the song shifted to a slower tempo, Emma gazed into Jake's eyes. She found herself lost in the depths, captivated by the kindness that radiated from him. Every worry about her past began to feel distant, like echoes of a world she could choose to step away from. But then she caught sight of Tyler again. His gaze was steady, a mixture of surprise and something darker etched on his face. A wave of tension washed over her, pulling her back to earth. Would he ruin this night? Could she truly enjoy this connection with Jake while wrestling with old emotions? Jake must have sensed her sudden shift because he leaned in closer, his breath warm against her ear. "What's going on in that beautiful mind of yours?" Emma hesitated. How could she explain the familiar ache of her past, the ghosts that just wouldn't let go? She took a steadying breath and decided to be honest. "Can you see him?" she asked, nodding subtly toward Tyler. Jake turned his head slightly, taking in the sight. "I do," he said quietly. "Do you want me to keep you distracted?" Emma chuckled, a lightness breaking through the tension. "Maybe just be here with me. That's enough." "Always," Jake replied, squeezing her hand reassuringly. They continued to sway as she tried to center her thoughts on him and the warmth of their growing connection. The music flowed around them, enveloping her in a comforting haze. Suddenly the song ended, and with it the brief bubble of invulnerability they had created began to burst. The crowd around them started to shift, and Tyler pushed through with a forced smile plastered on his face. "Emma," he called, his voice cutting through the noise. "Mind if I steal you for a second?" Her heart sank. Just as she felt invigorated, that simple request threatened to unravel everything. Emma looked toward Jake, whose expression remained steady, but uncertainty flickered in his eyes. She began, but Tyler stepped closer, eyes narrowing with intention. "You won't want to miss this." "Come on," he insisted, the politeness barely masking the authoritative tone. Emma glanced back at Jake. "I don't want to leave you," she said, trepidation tightening her chest. He nodded slowly, clearly understanding the weight of the moment. "Go on. I'll be right here," he said, his voice steady, yet somehow softening the reality of what was happening. With a reluctant breath, Emma stepped away from Jake, her heart torn. As she approached Tyler, the moment felt heavy with expectation and unresolved history. "Let's talk," Tyler said, leading her further away from the crowd. As they moved into a quieter corner, Emma struggled between confrontation and reconciliation. What lay ahead? Judgment or clarity? "Do you think you're ready for this?" Tyler asked, his tone serious, almost probing. "What do you mean?" she countered defensively, crossing her arms. "Being so public, moving on with someone like Jake," he continued, his eyes piercing. "You may not truly be over it. You never dealt with our past properly." His words swirled around her, flooding her with memories and emotions she thought she had buried. Did he really think he could wade into her life and dictate how she should feel? "I am dealing with it," Emma snapped, surprising herself with a burst of confidence. "This isn't about you, Tyler. This is about moving forward." He raised an eyebrow, and she could see the flicker of surprise cross his face. "Letting someone new in doesn't mean you've moved on, Emma. It could make things worse." Beneath this confrontation was a lingering affection, waves of past warmth lapping at her feelings. Emma tried to push them aside. "You wouldn't understand. You never truly knew me." With every word, clarity began to sharpen. She realized she wasn't just confronting Tyler's view of her, She was embracing who she was becoming. She was finally stepping into her own power. "Maybe I don't," Tyler conceded, his voice softening. "But I don't want you to get hurt. Just think about it." Before she could respond, Jake stepped forward, a fierce protector. "Hey, is everything okay?" His tone brooked no argument, and Emma felt a sense of relief wash over her. "Just a little chat," Emma said, forcing a smile. But Jake wasn't looking at her. He had narrowed his focus on Tyler. "Let's not make this more complicated than it needs to be," Jake said, his voice steady and low, embodying assurance. Tyler glanced between the two, and for a brief moment silence stretched between them. Then he nodded slightly, his bravado fading. "Enough said. Just know what you're doing." With that, Tyler walked away, and Emma felt a weight lift. It was as though she had shed a layer she didn't even know she was still wearing. Jake turned to her, concern etched on his face. "You okay?" "I am," she declared, her heart racing. "More than okay. I think I can finally let go of what once was. It's scary, but it feels liberating too." Jake smiled, warmth flooding his features. "Exactly. You deserve to embrace what's next. Let's go back and dance?" "Absolutely," Emma said, linking her fingers with his as they rejoined the crowd. Together they moved back onto the dance floor, the rhythm pulling them into a sea of swirling emotion and light. As they swayed together, she felt more than just the dance. She felt a spark, a connection that pulled her towards the future. "From fake boyfriend to something real," Jake whispered, grinning at her. Emma giggled, the sound bubbling up free. "Yeah, who would have thought it?" With every movement, every laugh shared, she realized she was ready to forge her new story. Past shadows started to fade, illuminated by the laughter and love growing between them. As the night deepened, Emma felt empowered, knowing she was reclaiming herself one step at a time. No longer caught in the web of her past, she embraced the beauty of possibility, knowing that with Jake by her side, this was only just the beginning. And as they danced together under the stars, a journey still unfolding, she couldn't wait to see where their story would lead them. Now was her time. The future was waiting. Don't wait not even one more second. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Tap that notification bell to never miss an update. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and claw your way back to great tales. We want to hear your thoughts and feelings about this ending, so comment below. And don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Be a true fan